let's queer up the USA view. Video shows trans man being beat by LA County Sheriff.
Come here. I just stopped you. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did. Get your hands off of me. What are you doing? Oh, my God.
In the surveillance video, you can hear Emmett Brock, a 23-year-old transgender man and a teacher, as he screams for his life. Now, this incident unfolded February 10th of this year, but is just coming to light. An attorney for Brock says he was pulled over for having an air freshener hanging from the rearview mirror, but the deputy got enraged after his client flipped him off. The deputy followed Brock in his cruiser until he pulled into the parking lot of a 7-Eleven in Whittier and got out of the car. That's when we see the deputy confront Brock and beats him to the ground. Now, this altercation lasted for about 3 minutes as Brock was punched in the head. We spoke with Brock's attorney, who says his client is now jobless and facing criminal charges.
Emmett Brock thought he was dying and his mind raced. Quote, "This doesn't happen this way. I can't die like this," end quote. He tasted the blood inside his mouth. He felt the fists land on his head. And he heard the shouts of the sheriff's deputy on top of him, pressing him into the pavement of the 7-Eleven parking lot. 3 minutes later, the 23-year-old teacher sat in the back of a Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department cruiser, not even knowing why the deputy had stopped him. Brock was sent to the Norwalk station lockup and booked for 3 felonies. When he told the staff he was a transgender man, he said they asked to see his genitals before deciding which holding cell to send him to. That was in February. Brock is now jobless and still facing criminal charges. The Sheriff's Department has been under intense scrutiny in recent weeks for 2 other use-of-force incidents caught on camera, including one in which a deputy punched a woman in the face while trying to take her child. Concerning the February incident, the department has issued a statement saying, quote, "We take every use of force seriously and we do investigate," end quote. To Brock's lawyer, Thomas Beck, that underscores how far the Sheriff's Department has to go when it comes to meaningfully holding deputies accountable. So I don't think I have to, that's really rough to watch, really rough to hear, and unfortunately is just one of many. Every single day, something comes out. And related to that, I just saw research that people are now almost just as likely to be killed by police as they are to be killed by a stranger. The majority of people who are murdered by someone they know, but of the rest of that, it's 50-50. Could be a cop or it could be a stranger. So I think that alone just tells us they see themselves as above the law, it's worked out in their favor. They think that they're above the law and they can do anything and anything they want to do because they get away with it and they continue to get away with it.
I know for me, I think, oh my God, God forbid I have to call 911. I mean, you know, growing up, it was like I grew up with the mentality that, you know, if you need help, you can rely and trust a police officer. And that certainly is not the case always. And I would hate to think all of the injustices that police have done over time before the technology of cameras. You know, nowadays, at least some of them are being held accountable for their actions. But can you imagine before we were walking around with camera phones and there were cameras all over on buildings, the stuff that police got away with, the crap that they got away with? You know, and it's horrible. And every day you see this on some level. I don't know if you all recently saw the story where the guy had surrendered. He was holding his hands up and they still sicked the police dog on him. They've been playing it all over.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, the public statement is we take use of force, every use of force, an accusation of abuse seriously. That's a non-statement. That's not even a statement. That's a statement of reading something out of their Wikipedia manual, not any connection, correlation with this situation. You know, when I was watching it, I was thinking, you know, for those people that do not understand the fear in the black community of police, we're watching it. Now, there's no indication yet that that police officer had a particular reaction to the person being trans or not. But that person, to the point that the observation you just made, he had absolutely no idea that camera was working in the way it was and capturing. That's a 7-Eleven. That was a private business camera that captures that. So he's not even thinking about that camera watching. There is no weapon. He is down on the ground.
Yeah.
The police officer is on top of him, and that doesn't slow the police officer at all down.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I think even the person that does the statement, the official statement, is as culpable as the police officer is, which is, well, we take it seriously. I'm waiting to hear in what way.
Yeah.
Because everything you've done so far demonstrates you don't take it seriously.
And when you read the whole article, it shows that it went through 3 different reviews before anybody even questioned was the use of force appropriate.
Yeah.
And remember, LA County is 10 million people, the most populous county in America. And in a quick defense of police, they have a very high adrenaline job. They don't know what they're going to find every time they do a pullover or serve a warrant. So I get it. But at the same time, you have to look at this and go, clearly this person was not trained well. This is a very insular, when you see the aftermath, it's a very insular, the LA County Sheriff's Office is a very insular organization. And the fact is, it's very sort of still like old boys network. And this is what we see as a result.
And I think that a lot of times their training goes out the window. You can train all day, but when you see them, a lot of them lose it. They just lose it.
Yeah.
And I think they're afraid, like to your point, they don't know what they're walking into. I'm sure they're afraid, but it's like they just completely lose it. And the ego, because they have the badge and they enforce the laws, right? It's almost like you better be subservient. Almost want to lick the bottom of their feet. If you don't show the respect, the mere fact that he flicked off the officer, that did it. That's why his ass was down on the ground and the officer was beating his behind, because he did that. And the officer is like, how dare you? Now, I know I can't technically get in his mind, but based on my experience, I can tell you, he got mad because the guy flicked him off, and then he was hell-bent on proving to him who the man in charge was.
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ+ community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.